All right, everybody, welcome to our Plexus training call today. We have been doing this amazing series to kind of help everybody understand how our products work, what they do, how they can help specific types of people dealing with specific things. And this one that we're doing today is very near and dear to my heart. I have two kids myself, and it's been, these products have been such a godsend to them, but it's not even because of anything that has truly happened so far in their life, just the future benefit that I know that they're going to get out of it. I've been somebody that has dealt with pretty big gut health issues my entire life. Well, it was my entire life. I didn't realize it until I was diagnosed at 17, but it all stemmed from my childhood. And so I think what this call is going to kind of help us do is kind of understand the impact that what we're doing right now for our kids, from the health, from the supplements, from helping with their guts and everything like that, is really going to set up their long-term health. And I just made a post on Facebook, but you guys, what if we could create a generation of children, a new generation of people, of adults coming up that was not addicted to sugar and didn't have the type of health issues that our generation is dealing with? How amazing would that be? So it just, to me, this is such a big topic for two reasons: preventative, but then also helping with current state. You know, lots of kids are dealing with lots of different health issues themselves, and it's because of the type of environment we have, the food that we're giving them, the way that they're being brought up in the environment that they're in. But you guys, it also even starts during gestation. And so it's so important, the health and the implications that we have with our Plexus products, but then even outside of our Plexus products, and how we look at their health and their nutrition and everything. I invited my friend Lauren on here today to give us a little story about her son. He's actually autistic, and he's been taking our products and has had some really good success, but I wanted her to come on and kind of share her experience and what she's seen with her own children. So Lauren, if you're there, can you unmute yourself? Or I can. Here, I'll unmute you.
Hey guys, how are y'all? First of all, thank you, Sarah, so much for inviting me today. I'm at work, so I'm in my car. If I run out of it, if I have connectivity issues, I'm dealing with Wi-Fi struggles. But I'm excited to share with you guys my story. So I first got interested in Plexus because of my son, and he was diagnosed with autism at 5 years old after some major behavioral struggles, and constantly asking the pediatrician and constantly asking his took him to psychiatrists and asking his teachers what was going on. So finally we get this diagnosis, and I was like, okay, well, what next? And the truth of the matter is, unfortunately, is that there's not a lot of guidance in the traditional medical field of medicine for parents that have kids with autism. So the cold hard truth is that you have to become your kid's own advocate, and you have to become their number one source of information and source of teaching, and you really have to fight for these kids. So as any mom would do, I scoured the internet for information. And what I found was that gut health was hugely related to autism symptoms. And the more and more research that has gone on over the last 3 to 4 years, they're finding out how much it actually does affect autism and the symptoms that display because of that disorder. So when I first heard about Plexus, I was like, I've got to look into this. I've got to get on this. He had tummy issues. He, obviously being autistic, has emotional control issues. And then when we had my second son, we realized how much different he was, because we didn't really have a benchmarker before. He was our oldest, and we didn't know. My youngest son had eczema. He was on ADHD medication. We were just really struggling. And, one of the first things they say to do is to control the diet, right? Cut out preservatives, cut out dairy, cut out gluten, cut out all this stuff. But for a busy full-time mom of 2 kids, sometimes that's just not really realistic for the lifestyle. Not to mention, it's not going to fix the root root issue necessarily, right? Like you're cutting out things, but as soon as you bring them back in, and those symptoms will come back because the gut actually isn't healed. So we got him on Plexus probably about a year ago, and ever since, like, it, the improvements have been slight. It's been kind of a journey, but when I look back over the last year, I'm like, oh my gosh, you guys, like where he was to where he is now, like the leap is huge, right? Like my youngest son, first of all, the doctors told me he would never get rid of his eczema. He would never get rid of his cradle cap that he had had for 4 years. Like it never went away. Plexus, Probio 5, it's all gone now. The tummy issues, we used to struggle in the bathroom all the time, crying, tears, water, this, like all the over-the-counter medication. They haven't been constipated in 8-10 months at least. It's really exciting because what are you supposed to do when your kid's constipated? You just hold their hand and you'd be like, I don't know what to do. It's painful as a parent, right? So, for Nolan, as far as his autism symptoms, we've been able to reduce his ADHD medication. He hasn't been in any kind of outside therapy other than what he deals with in school. So along with his maturity, along with his gut health healing, along with his ADHD medication, his emotional control has gotten so much better. Like his fits are down. He's able to recognize before he has a fit that he's about to have one, or he's able to communicate with me so that like that brain to action space is bigger for him, right? So like kids with autism and ADHD, there's not enough space between what their reaction is to what their environment is to the action, right? So that everything's impulsive. They're completely out of control, right? So that space has grown a lot. So he's able to recognize more. I just see him calmer. I see him more under control. He's excelling in school academically. And so therefore emotionally, he's doing better. His confidence is so much better. So really, really a blessing. I have Plexus to thank as a huge tool. And one of the best thing, and this is to Sarah's point too, and with anybody's children, whether they have disabilities or not, like raising our kids in such a way that from a young age that they're aware of their bodies, they're aware of what they're putting in their bodies, and they're aware of the damage that can occur if you don't take care of your body. And we're starting them off like in such a better place than we were started off with, than our parents were started off with. Like that's a really, really exciting prospect for me to know that my kids like already know, like, nope, shouldn't have that. That has a lot of sugar in it. Or if they do go to a birthday party and have a cupcake, like, and they're acting out later, they're like, Mom, I know that was because I had 5 cupcakes earlier, like they're aware. And like, that is so important. And the education that comes and the paying attention to their bodies and what their bodies are telling them, that has come with Plexus, and then the improvements that he's made through Plexus with his autism symptoms has just been a huge, huge blessing for us. So we're really grateful.
Thank you so much, Lauren. I mean, what a blessing to be able to, walk through and kind of help and kind of guide and bring more just some wins to him, and to have some more control and everything for him. That's amazing. And I love the fact that you brought up the education, because that's what I've been doing with my kids as well. And there's a fine line between creating, body issues and just educating on health, right? So it is a fine line, and I wanted to, recognize that as well. But the fact of the matter remains that, like, when I was a child, I never took probiotics. I just didn't. It wasn't a part of our nutrition at that point in time. And if we can raise a generation of kids that have a healthy microbiome, the future in that, and just the future and the taxing on the healthcare system is enormous. Enormous. And so for us to be able to get the word out now and to educate our kids, kind of one by one on a small scale, and possibly change the future of their health, it's so huge. So I'm going to actually pass it over to Cameron. She's going to talk to us about kind of the science behind this and what we can do as parents and what we should be looking for and those types of things. And then I'll wrap up the call after that. But Cameron, are you there? Can you take it away?
I'm here. Thanks for having me, Sarah. Kids, right? There are future generations. I don't have kids, but it's interesting. All my friends have kids, so I get to observe a lot and watch different health things and watch them grow up and what happens. Our microbiome, we get that at birth. It will be with us the rest of our lives. Just like our DNA code, our parents come together and they give us a DNA code that's with us the rest of our life, our genetics, but we also get our microbiome from our mothers. Historically, when you pass through, as you give birth, as a baby is passing through the vaginal canal, it is coated in probiotics. That's where we get our microbiome, is through that birth process, which is absolutely, how beautiful is that? How natural is it that we were created to give birth, and that that final thing we pass on is give our kids a microbiome to defend them against sickness, give them immunity, energy, our metabolism, pretty much everything. That's the final thing the mother gives the baby before it goes into the real world. And with this day and age, with C-sections and everything going on, kids aren't getting that as much. Same thing, if your mother doesn't have a great microbiome, she's not passing on a great microbiome to her kids. We also get probiotics and stuff from breast milk. And we see, moms that have gut health issues of their own aren't breastfeeding because they can't produce milk, or maybe their blood sugars are out of whack. So this is a critical thing that we're talking about right now. When Plexus introduced our vitamin probiotics together, I had to go to the bathroom and cry. It was beautiful. It was just so exciting to think that we are going to be able to, at an early age, educate, empower, and help our young get better. We are even talking now, I was talking about this with my asthma doctor, that kids that don't have the vaginal birth, there's some talks of development of these wipes that they put on the kid to give them a microbiome after they're born, because they don't get one. They're born with kind of more of a blank slate. So research on this is going to be huge. We're going to be seeing a lot more research on it. And again, as always, Plexus is ahead of the cutting edge here. Lifestyle is such a big thing for kids and gut health and things. Think about that as a young age. If you're constipated, that wasn't an issue when we were kids. Like maybe 1 out of whatever kids were constipated. Now it's more and more kids have gut issues. Can you imagine, being asked to be playing on the playground and you're constipated? You don't want to play. You don't feel good. So how's that going to be for their confidence? They're not getting exercise. They're not playing with their friends. You don't feel good. So we have the not only the impact to change somebody's health, but just keep kids growing and letting them be kids and be healthy rather than sick at home. I was a sick kid. I love that Sarah connected that she had a sick childhood. I did as well. I've had asthma. We give our kids antibiotics at an early age. They're 3, they're 4, they get some sickness. We throw them some antibiotics and we've wiped whatever's clean, leaving the weeds to grow up. And we see our lifestyle. This is kind of the American lifestyle right now. What are we doing to our kids? Processed foods, GMOs, hand sanitizer. We're so concerned of our kids getting sick. We want to wipe out all the bad, we get rid of the good, and then they're a blank slate, and they don't have the ability to build their own immune system and to build their own microbiome. Kids just don't have a full-on microbiome like they used to. We have sugars, antibiotics, everything. If you really do some research and you look at red dyes and blue dyes, there's dyes that are known neurotoxins to kids that are in foods. This is like proven neurotoxins. These dyes that are in foods are proven neurotoxins for kids. So it's important as a parent, because kids don't know. They're born into this world trying to do their best, to empower yourself with what type of food choices. And inflammation, that affects kids and adults. You need to feed them with foods that are going to help with that anti-inflammation as well. And as kids that are grown into this world, that are thrown antibiotics and have Purell, they're not playing in the dirt. When we were kids making mud pies, we didn't know we were getting probiotics. And so we're so worried about germs, we're not getting the good guys anymore. And so our ecosystem as a kid is already hurting. It's already starved of different probiotics. So we are susceptible. We have sick kids that have autism that we see are stemming from the gut. We have more issues of ADHD, which turns out to be a big blood sugar thing. We see kids that are on Slim with doctor approval. Again, if you're going to put your kids on products that are not approved for kids, you need to partner carefully with your doctor, because these are growing systems. But think about it. As your blood sugars go wonky, as women, when we have wonky blood sugars, we're not thinking carefully. You forget your keys here. You're doing this. You have this mood thing. So imagine that in a kid, how confusing that is. Wonky blood sugars are causing the acting out, not being able to concentrate, not being able to focus. I know me, when my blood sugars used to drop or spike, I didn't feel good and I wanted to lay down or I wanted to eat something. And kids are doing the same thing. So helping stabilize those blood sugars, because insulin is just as important as kids as adults, is going to help. And I think what makes me really excited about the long term, if you make the choice to partner with your doctor very carefully and put your kids on Slim, what are the long-term effects of getting kids prebiotics and helping their stabilization of blood sugars and helping with inflammation? I can only imagine how different my health would have been if I would have started. I wish I had Plexus at an early age. So blood sugars are a big key in that. And the wonky ADHD stuff, we see that a lot with sleep and memory issues, with just helping stabilizing that blood sugars. We all know through different seminars that we've talked about, when your blood sugars are going wonky, your body's responsibility is to fix that. And so they ignore everything else to go deal with the blood sugar. So, kids are affecting it too. They have high sugar diets, the snacks they have at school. When I used to do metabolic coaching, I had a lady that came in and says, oh yeah, I give my kids Gushers as vitamins because it says it's enriched with vitamins. I was like, okay, this is what people think. So it's important to empower yourself with information. Can you imagine these kids that's what they think, they're getting vitamins, but they're eating Gushers first thing in the morning, It's really important. And over time, the wonky blood sugars, the stress, the Purell, not playing in the dirt, all the factors of the things we're not doing and doing too much is causing leaky gut. And that's when our gut lining, which is semi-permeable, is getting inflamed because it's irritated from stress, processed foods, sugars, or lack of microbiome in general because they're young. And food and allergens are getting into the bloodstream. We see kids with severe food allergies. I was just watching there's a documentary on Netflix called Rotten. It's very scary. And there's one about peanut allergies. And it talks about how kids have allergies, like deathly allergies now, as in the fact if they're exposed to peanut dust or weird dust, they could go to the hospital and die. Because what happens in a leaky gut, your body, when it starts inflaming, it's trying to deal with the foreign invader. So as the gut's inflamed, if a particle gets in there and the body can't break down, say, the peanut protein, it remembers that. It says, all right, we don't know what to deal with this. So the next time this happens, we're going to really watch out. In our bloodstream, we have cool ninjas in there that are looking out for allergens. Like, hey, we're going to protect. We want to make sure that this comes in. We're going to get this invader. So as a kid, the next time they might be exposed to peanuts, they might get rashes and hives and get a flare up. And then the next time it could be deadly or hospitalized because the body says, oh no, these things are going in the bloodstream. So just healing a leaky gut and preventable will help these food allergies. And these are severe. Watch that. It's called the peanut allergy on Rotten, and learning about how kids are having to live their life and it's not just peanuts, it's cashews, it's all these weird nut allergies that kids have these days and that all stems from the gut. So the process that they're doing is they're removing it all. You can't have it, and then helping heal that gut and then reintroducing things slowly so your kid can live a normal life and not have to run around and worry about if there's peanuts in their pad thai at 4 a.m. when they're studying for their college exam. Just can you imagine dealing with that stuff? So the ramifications on this gut health and kid stuff is a huge, huge things. Leaky gut has been shown to lead to all different types of things. Look it up. Gut health and autism with kids. The leaky gut is showing that. ADHD as well, with blood sugar and gut health as well. For me, I had asthma from a very, very critical problem with asthma. I was on medications. My mom used to drive up to the school and give me my breathing machine. I was so cool, and I don't have asthma anymore. It's because I had candida. Kids are getting candida at an early age. You see the skull cap or the eczema and the rashes that the kids have. When we see rashes on the kids' bodies, it's not because they rubbed up against something. It's something from the inside screaming to get help from the outside. So we're seeing more and more treatments that are really about healing from the inside out. And candida is something we see with kids too from an early age. I know I had that at an early age. Looking back at all that stuff, I've been having candida issues probably since I was 3 years old. It's a no wonder I had stuff going on. It's something to be very aware of, as well as educating yourself. I love the thought about educating kids about what this does to the body. Instead of just like telling them what to do, say, hey, you know what happens when this happens? You act out, this is what our bodies need. So being able to educate our kids and show them what it's healthy will really help. So even if your kids don't have something crazy like autism, or if they don't have asthma or ADHD, they're just normal kids trucking along in life, having a good time. This is such a great way to think about preventative medicine for them. When our kids need building blocks and good vitamins, we talked in the first seminar about soil depletion, and we're not getting minerals. So even if your kids are healthy and happy, the oranges, remember we talked about how 8 oranges of today equal 1 orange of vitamin C from our grandparents' age. So it's important to think about nutrient deficiencies too, not just gut issues and blood sugars. It's just, hey, if you're doing the best you can, giving your kid, they're not getting the vitamin C that used to be recommended at our grandparents' age. So giving in a vitamin and probiotic to help with preventative stuff, giving them the building blocks and the resources for their bodies to make strong bones and muscles and to run and play on the playground and to give them good brain health. They're making connections like crazy. So a vitamin, a good high quality bioavailability clean vitamin, is going to give your kids' bodies the resources to grow strong and healthy and to fight against infection and things that are in school. Same thing with gut health. So kids' health is 2 things. It's really about the kids that are having issues that for whatever reason, maybe you couldn't breastfeed, or maybe you didn't have a vaginal birth, maybe it was C-section, or whatever maybe happened. Maybe like me, I was breastfed, I had a vaginal section, but I got I got a really bad sickness at 3 and got put on antibiotics, and the rest was history. Whether it's something critical like that or just preventative, it's important to talk to our kids because we are setting themselves up for life. If you have poor gut health at 8, what is it going to be at 35 or 40 or 45? We don't know. And the more and more we know, Sarah and I were talking about this the other day, we are seeing that gut health has the ability, possibly, this is all European research, to affect the expression of our genes. So our genetic code that we get from our parents, maybe I have Alzheimer's in there, but if I have good gut health, maybe I won't trigger that gene to have that. So maybe we're giving our kids the tools and the possibility to prevent disease. And I just got chills thinking about that. We don't know, but what if we did? What if we were able to help our kids stay healthy their whole life? That would be incredible. We're studying the effects on possibly our gut health's ability to affect how we respond to cancer treatment. So we think about how early can we start this to help with leaky gut, to help with inflammation. I can only imagine how long my body had been inflamed, or Sarah's body has been inflamed her whole life dealing with this. Inflammation is a really, really big deal. So giving our kids healthy and hearty foods, getting them exercise, empowering them, teaching them. There's actually a really great book on Amazon called Meet Your Microbiome, and it's a kid book. Talk about them with it and let them empower them with information, because you might be, by giving them a probiotic, giving them a tool to help them live a healthy and happy life, that in arming them against things, as well as the ability to go to kids that are suffering, that are constipated. I can't imagine having a kid that has IBS that one day is having diarrhea during the playground and then 2 weeks later having constipation. Just, can you imagine the confidence and then the reciprocating effect on mental illness with gut health and not feeling great and depression? It just is all a cycle. And letting our kids' bodies grow from an early age into something that's healthy and happy, we have the tools, and it's incredible, especially with that new vitamin mineral. So this topic, take it out of a box a little bit and think about bigger picture and what you can do for the next generations and generations to come. And that's what's really exciting, is possibly saying, hey, we might not have to have all these friends that have autoimmune if we can help kids grow up to be all healthy and happy. Sarah, thanks for having me. As always, it's great. Our kids are our future, and I'm excited to see what Plexus continuously does to stay ahead of all the science, even for our kids.
I absolutely love it. Yeah, when the announcement went out that we had the new X Factor multivitamin that was a kid's probiotic as well, I literally started crying, because the implications of that, just that, is so huge. And I want you guys to realize, if any of you guys have kids, that kids multivitamin is so incredibly unique as to anything else that is on the marketplace. If you go in and you compare it to any of the other vitamins, there are not kids vitamins that are methylated. There are not kids vitamins that have probiotics and high quality probiotics in them. So that is your place to start. So for me, what I give to my personal kids is the kids X Factor multivitamin with the probiotic. I also give them Mega X, and that is incredibly good for brain health and everything like that. Now, that is termed as an adult product in our product line, and so anything that you give, whether it's ProBio 5, Mega X Slim, BioCleanse, anything like that, you guys must take it to your doctor for dosages and everything like that. It's so huge. And yes, somebody just mentioned on the chat that there's no sugar in our multivitamin, and that is a big deal, because if you add up just the sugar in your multivitamin that you're giving to your kids every single day, it adds up to an enormous amount of sugar on a yearly basis, okay? And that's just one little thing. If you walk into any restaurant, you can see just how ridiculous our generation is with our kids. Look at the kids menu. It has hot dogs, it has quesadilla, it has fried chicken, chicken nuggets, those types of things, tons of processed food, tons of things that just aren't French fries, that aren't good for our kids. I am hard pressed to find any kids menu that has grilled chicken on it and some veggies, and the reason is we've all started to pay attention to our own health as adults, but we're still feeding our kids corn dogs every day or chicken nuggets every day and that type of thing. And not all of us, I'm just saying as a generation. And so it's become so important to really educate on that and to take control of that. And you guys, with Plexus, we have the opportunity to do that. When I joined Plexus 4 years ago, we were the only ones talking about gut health. We were the only ones out there really promoting gut health, and it's really started to take hold. you guys have the opportunity to impact all of your friends around you by talking to them about their children's gut health. That is huge. It's huge for the future generation. It's huge for our healthcare system. It's huge for each and every individual. So what I would do, let's talk products for a second. What I would do is first talk to them about the Kids X Factor vitamin. Talk to them about that. It's got the probiotics. It's got methylated vitamins, bioavailable vitamins in it. It has no dyes. That's enormous, okay? None of those fake dyes or anything like that. That's where you start. Then what I love is our Omega X, because it helps with the fat soluble vitamins that are in the X Factor. So it becomes a carrier for them, and it helps with their brain health and as well. Our bodies don't make omegas. Kids' bodies don't make omegas. It's important to get those in at an early age, and I guarantee you they're not eating salmon every day, right? So that's an important thing to kind of help them out as well. And so do my kids swallow the Omega X? You can, so my kids do. We've taught them how to do it, but you can actually just poke a little hole in it. It's oil, and you can put it in their food. So that one's really not a hard one at all to get into their little bellies. But like I said, talk to your doctor about dosages. I am not even going to talk about what I give my kids or how many I give my kids or anything like that, because it's an individual basis based on age, height, weight, all of it. And also health, makeup, and everything like that. So beyond that, I know a lot of kids are getting the Vital Biome as well, if they are dealing with mental health issues, digestive issues, that sort of thing. That Vital Biome is our seed product and colonizes in their guts. So again, that is a very powerful adult vitamin. You've got to get that dosage. You can easily open it up so the doctor can work you through and decide what is a good implementation plan with that particular product if your child even needs it at this stage, right? So the other thing is the Slim. Lots and lots of kids are on the Slim for ADD, ADHD, different types of behavior and attention issues and blood sugar issues and those types of things. Again, it's an adult product with a very powerful prebiotic in there, which is great for kids. But again, it's an adult dosage product that we have. None of our products are scary for kids or anything like that. I wouldn't be giving my kids block or accelerator or boost or anything like that. But we have heard of kids that have severe ADD opening up that Edge product and giving it to them. Again, I would never, ever, ever just give my kid Edge. That is a big deal, but it helps with concentration, especially those dealing with ADD, because stimulants actually help those that are dealing with ADHD and that type of thing. Those that are dealing with it know exactly what I'm talking about there, but don't just give it to them. You've got to talk to your doctor, okay? So all of this is it's for the future benefit of the kids, and it's a more natural approach. We want to avoid steroids, antibiotics, those types of things as much as possible. All the medicines, they are highly necessary when they're necessary, right? But the overuse of them is what's concerning, and that leads to the gut health, the dysbiosis in their guts as well as ours. Their bodies are made just like ours. They're just smaller and they're developing. So work with your doctors, figure out a plan. But the two things that I would talk to about, first and foremost, you don't have to talk to your doctor about the kids multivitamin. That's for kids. It's a multivitamin and a probiotic, excuse me. The Mega X is one I would talk about right away too. So that all being said, you guys, this is something to definitely talk and educate your audience, and definitely talk and educate your friends, anybody that has kids. It's a big deal, and you could really, really impact their future health. So thank you guys so much for joining us today. Oh, Tamara just asked, what about giving kids BioCleanse? Most kids actually do not need BioCleanse. They don't have the issues that we do with constipation. Unless a child is dealing with actual constipation, then you talk to their doctor about giving BioCleanse, but they don't need to take BioCleanse at the same time they take ProBio 5 unless absolutely necessary, because kids are not to a stage where they actually need that yet. They generally have a healthier digestive tract than we do, unless it's in extreme cases like Lauren was talking about with her child. So at that point, it becomes necessary to then talk and have that conversation with your doctor. And then yes, absolutely BioCleanse. You want to avoid Miralax at all costs. Do your own research on that. But if your child is dealing with that and your doctor is saying, hey, take Miralax, please, for the love, do your research. A lot has come out about that, and talk to them about BioCleanse. Okay. Love you guys. We'll talk to you later. We've already gone over. So thank you guys so much for joining us on this, and we'll see you on Monday. Bye.